What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another video here on the Big Blue in the Bronx YouTube channel. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate coming back. Share this out. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, we'll have the Jets-Giants recap out for you. I know a couple players will probably be cut by then, but at the same time, we got to get the recap out a little afterwards. And today we're doing a 53-man roster prediction. The Giants have already released 10 players, but none of which, and I promise this, none of which who I had making the roster. Those players were Kyler Ball, who they signed this week for defensive line depth after they cut Ryder Anderson, cornerback Breon Borders, who's a veteran, cornerback Christian Holmes, who's a former draft pick of the Washington Commanders. You had Clayton Isbell, who's an undrafted free agent out of Coastal Carolina, played with the Panthers most recently. John Giles out of West Florida, he made a nice play against the New York Jets, doing a little hurdle. Joshua Kelly, they did not keep him on the roster, running back from the Chargers. Linebacker Trey Kaiser from South Alabama. Running back Lorenzo Lingard from Akron. Wide receiver Ayer Asante, who really probably had one of the worst preseasons I've ever seen, and I'm just being honest here. And offensive lineman Marcus McKeithen, who is a failed draft pick, fifth-round pick, was supposed to be depth, got hurt in his first year. His second year wasn't great, played a couple of games because of all the O-line injuries. So let's get to the 53-man initial projection. Not the projection after the waiver wire, but the projection, initially, where they set it, and then the next day they go into the waiver wire or later on or whatever. So at the quarterback room, I have the Giants keeping 3 quarterbacks. Daniel Jones, obviously. Drew Lock is also in there. And I don't think for whatever reason that will be, I don't think the Giants would want to risk Tommy DeVito getting claimed by another team and then having to go out on the quarterback market. Now, I think that if they did pick up Mike White, who I don't know if he's going to go to another team by the time this video is released, but he is a solid backup, played for the Dolphins, played for the Jets. So, if you could definitely use him in a pinch. But I think the Giants are going to end up keeping Tommy DeVito. To the running back room, Eric Gray, Devin Singletary, and Tyrone Tracy, all of them are immediate make-its. Singletary obviously signed this year. Gray, who had a wonderful preseason. Tyrone Tracy, who scared us a little bit during training camp. And Dante Miller, I think they initially keep him. They may look to release him and try to sign him to the practice squad for a better veteran. But I think that he impressed enough this preseason. They gave him a shit ton of carries against the Jets, and I think he makes the initial 53. Moving over to the wide receiver room, you got your starting bunch. Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson. And you need 2 guys, probably a solid receiver and a special teamer, but I have the Giants keeping 2 special teamers. Isaiah McKenzie, who's a solid receiver, had a couple of returns in the preseason. Then Miles Boykin, I have him making the roster as well because I think he, not in the return game, but brings some good ability on special teams as a gunner and a protector and all the other stuff he does. I think the Giants could really use it. Now, obviously, Gunnar Olszewski's out 2 to 4 weeks, so do they keep him on the roster and then IR him and bring back McKenzie? That's also something to keep note of. To the tight end room, I have the Giants keeping 4 tight ends, 1 fullback. Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, Jakob Johnson is going to be the fullback. I think he did really well in the last 2 preseason games, especially with the blocking responsibilities on the run plays. And as far as Chris Mannertz goes, I have him making the roster. I think he's a great run blocker. I think the Giants definitely need that. He did better than Jack Stoll. He did better than Cager, who's injured. He did better than Tyree Jackson. So that's who I have being kept in the tight end room. Now you move to the O-line room. Andrew Thomas, Jermaine Lemonor, those are your starting tackles with John Runyon, Greg Van Roten, and Schmitz as the starting guard/center. As the reserves, I have Aaron Stinney, Evan Neal, Josh Azudu, and Jake Kubas. Now, Kubas, they could possibly move on from if they find a better veteran, and also Austin Schlodman, too. He was the backup center, but I feel like he didn't do that great against the Jets, but they probably prefer him over a guy like Jimmy Morrissey. Again, a guy they can move on from. So moving to the defensive line, that middle of the defense. Dexter Lawrence, Nacho Roches are going to be the first two. Elijah Chapman definitely makes it as well. Jordan Riley and DJ Davidson, they also finished there. Riley had a shared sack with Benton Whitley, and DJ Davidson also had some interesting and very good plays, I should say, for lack of a better word, during the preseason. So that's your defensive line. I don't have Casey Rogers making it. I thought he was a little too inconsistent. And Timmy Horn is probably going to end on season-ending IR. So for the outside linebacker room, initially, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari did not much of anything in the preseason. Disappointing to say the least. And then Benton Whitley finishes right behind Ojulari. I thought he had the most consistent preseason. He had 2.5 sacks. I really like what he did. Very good run defense, very good pass rush against some of the backups that we've seen. So with that said, Benton Whitley makes the roster. Moving to the inside linebacker room, I think Micah McFadden, Isaiah Simmons, Deontay Johnson, Musau, and Bobby Okereke make it. McFadden, I think he's going to be in question for week one, but the Giants need the depth there. I thought Deontay Johnson had a really good preseason outside the injury. Musau, I think, makes it because he's a rookie and he's a special teamer, but I think he'll be inactive for the first few weeks. And Isaiah Simmons, they like to use him in multiple roles, so I have him as an inside linebacker. Now for the cornerback room, it's going to lack veteran leadership. And I think that's where the Giants will probably go out and either cut somebody from the roster or that certain position and probably attempt a trade or attempt a signing. Andrew Phillips, Deontay Banks, Cordell Flott, Trey Hawkins, and Nick McLeod. I have those guys at corner. Nobody else really stood out in the preseason. Borders wasn't good. Holmes wasn't good. Herndon was a little consistent. David Long was probably the best out of those guys, and I could see them keeping him, but not for right now. As far as the safety tandem goes, Tyler Nubin and Jason Pinnock with Dane Belton and Javarius Owens backing up. Shame Owens got hurt, but I still have him making the roster, and Belton's obviously there. I think Johnson, meaning Alex Johnson, will probably make it to the practice squad. Jonathan Sutherland will probably be released, and anyone else in that safety room is probably gone. And finally, for the special teams, Graham Gano, Jamie Gillen, and Casey Kreiter will be your special teamers for what is it? I think that's the third year in a row. Yeah, third year in a row we'll have that three guys as your special teamers. So tell me what you guys think. Who's making the roster? Who's not making the roster? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.